Welcome to another Back to Ours right on your sofa for Top Tips Tuesday. I don't know about you, but for the past year I've single-handedly kept the takeaway industry alive. I've had more chips than a casino. But this week I'm going to get some cooking tips from Cam Lesh, who's shown us how to make a curry. I don't know if you knew this, but Johnny Cash wrote the song Ring of Fire the day after he had a Vindaloo. Yeah. Anyway, here's over to Cam Lesh for some curry.
Top Tips Tuesday, tell us how you do it your way. If you're a painter or a builder or a singer or a queen, play chess, make a dress or something in between, it's Top Tip Tuesday, show us how you do it your way.
Okay, so for the dishes that I'm cooking today, which is aloo gobi, and that's a potato and cauliflower curry, a very popular Punjabi dish. And for my red lentils, dal, we will need these ingredients. We will need onions, okay, which I've chopped and prepared earlier. We will need garlic and ginger, which again I have chopped and prepared. I've just peeled it, washed it, and I ground it. And as we all know, as Punjabis like a little bit of Indian hot curry. So here I've got our green chilies, which I will be chopping up in a second. And I've also got red chili powder, just to give it that little kick. Red chili powder. If we often use green chilies, but sometimes if they run out or whatever, you can add red chili powder and it gives it that kick. So that's your onions, your garlic and your ginger. And then I've got plum tomatoes, okay? Plum tomato, that's the sauce. When we're making our curry, we need like a nice thick sauce. So that is what we need is plum tomatoes. 1 tin of plum tomatoes for both curries. This is a very important ingredient. Start with this one. It's haldi, turmeric. This is such a powerful ingredient. It's used for, obviously for cooking, but it's also used for medicine as well. I've showed you the ingredients. I think the one I didn't mention was the garam masala, which is again a very important ingredient. Garam masala. Garam means hot, masala means a mixture of different types of like coriander, cumin seed, black peppercorn, cinnamon. In emergencies or when you feel like cheating, you can actually buy the ready-made garam masala. So here I've got my potatoes on the boil, ready for the aloo gobi. Aloo gobi is a very popular Punjabi dish. Here I've got some red lentils, washed and cleaned. Again, I'm going to add them to the boiling water. Okay. So add all the red lentils to the boiling water. Everybody, when they cook food, they cook it their own style. This is a very simple style that anybody could do really. So I'm going to put both things on the boil. Red lentils cooking, boiling. Okay, and I'm going to cover them up, and once they start to boil, I'm going to turn the heat down. So that's your red lentils. Here again, the aloo, the potatoes, they're on the boil. Once they start simmering, I'm going to turn the heat down. To my boiling potatoes, I am going to add gobi, which is cauliflower, washed, chopped, clean, prepared cauliflower. Okay. Little florets. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make the base, which can be used for both dishes. So in my pan here, I've got some vegetable oil, just heating up the vegetable oil on a very low heat. Okay. Over here, I'm going to add my onions, which have been chopped and prepared earlier. So I'm going to add my onions. And these are 3 medium to large onions, and I'm going to use about 1.5 for both of the dishes. Okay, so they're going to start to cook, and to this I am going to add my garlic and ginger again, which has been prepared earlier. Okay, so this is garlic and ginger. A good heaped spoon, okay, and then mix it together. Now this needs to, on a high heat, I've turned up that heat This needs to go a nice golden brown colour. Okay, I've got the dal on the heat, and I've also got, again, checking the aloo gobi, make sure it's cooking. Okay, while all this is happening, I've got the base on the heat, which is again the onions, garlic and the ginger. I've got the dal cooking away. Keep stirring so it doesn't stick to the bottom. Now that my onions and garlic and ginger nice and blended together, nice colour, to this base I'm going to add a sort of a spoonful of turmeric. Okay, maybe a little more. Okay, so that's your turmeric. Got your plum tomatoes. So this is a full tin, so I'm going to add 3/4 of that tin. Okay, mix it all together. Mix it all together, so a nice rich orangey red colour. You see? To this, I'm going to add a tablespoon of garam masala, home prepared garam masala. Okay. You see that nice golden orangey colour? Keep mixing so everything is blended in. Turn the heat down again. Now my family love hot food, so we add lots of chilli, but in this time I'm just going to add less chilli. I'll add, I've got 4 chopped chilies here, and I'm going to probably add 2 of them. There you go. You've got to mind your hands when you're using any ingredient, not just chilli, any ingredient. Okay, so mix it all up. You see? Lovely colours all cooking together. Okay, now I'm going to add sort of a level tablespoon of salt. So don't forget, it's got to go into 2 curries. There's a level tablespoon of salt. Obviously salt is not good for you, but to add some flavour to the food you have to add some salt. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add this base, this tadka, to my fillings, which I prepared earlier. Okay, so I'm going to add some to the dal, spoonful to the dal. You see? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to add the rest of the filling to my aloo gobi. You see? Now, because the aloo gobi was already cooked, I'm going to turn the heat quite high. I'm going to put the chopped coriander, some in the dal and some in the aloo gobi. This is a whole bunch of coriander chopped up, which I'm going to add to both of the dishes. Again, it's your preference. If you like coriander, you add. If not, it's a garnish. Also has a lovely flavour as well. Okay, so some in the... We like coriander, so I'm going to add quite a lot. And then here, also to the dal as well. Okay, gives it that lovely taste and flavour and the garnish. There we are. So that's your 2 curries, and you can see it's nice and soft. Everything's blended in, a lovely colour. Then I'm going to stir the aloo gobi. Okay, let it cook a bit longer so that all the sauce dries up. When we're having an Indian dish, an Indian curry, we often either have it with rice or we can make chapatis. Now chapatis are healthy and very easy to make as well. All we need for chapatis is chapati flour and simply water. And what we do to make the dough is we start pouring the water a little at a time. Okay. And with one hand, I will hold the bowl. With the other hand, I will mix. Okay. Simply, just like this. No other ingredient, just chapati flour and water. Okay, so you keep mixing just like you would pastry. And chapatis are very easy again, simple to make. They don't take long to cook at all. What you do need is you need a hot plate for them. A special hot plate with a handle, and it's called a tawa. I'll show you that in a little while when we are cooking the chapatis. It's called a tawa. I guess you could get away with a non-stick pan, but a tawa is a very useful utensil in a nation home. So again, with the flour, even when you're making pastry, the more you need, the better it is, the more it rises. Okay, so you keep adding water a little at a time. When we have the time, we will normally make the dough and leave it in the fridge for an hour or so, even overnight really, if it's well covered. You just leave it in the fridge for a little while. It rises, it helps to rise. So here we go. So you make it into like a ball. I've almost got my dough ready. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this for a few minutes, and then I'll come back to it and I will knead it. So I've got my dough here. Here I've got dry chapati flour, which I need to put on my hands and make little balls out of the dough. Okay, so if you like big chapatis, take a bit of extra dough. If you take small chapatis, use less. So I've got a dough ball here. It's about the size of a tangerine. Okay, but again, if you like big chapatis, just add a little bit extra. I like small chapatis, so I'm going to use a small amount. Okay, so I'll pat it. You see, just flattening it, just like that. So now that I've got my little disc, I've flattened into a disc, I'm going to roll my chapati with a rolling pin. Okay, you see? You see it going round? Not too much flour because it burns. So just gently roll, lift and roll. And if you think it's getting sticky, just add a little more dry flour. Okay, there we go. So that's the size of my chapati. So here I've got my tawa. Tawa is a hot plate. It's got like a handle. And again, you can make chapatis in a non-stick pan, but I've got this absolutely amazing utensil, which is a must-have. Okay, so I've got this on here. I've had it on on the heat for about 30 seconds. What I'm going to do now, I've got my chapati here. I'm going to pat off the flour and I'm going to just basically put it onto the pan. Then I'm going to turn the heat high. It's a completely dry pan, no oil, nothing, just a completely dry pan. Okay, and the chapati goes straight on. When you see the chapati going brown, as you can see, it means it's sort of like half cooked. They're very easy, they're quite thin, so they're quite easy to cook. Then you just turn it over like that. Okay? But mind your hands. There we go. So it's my chapati nicely cooking. So the first side sort of half cooked, second side cooks fully. The chapati takes about, I should say about a minute and a half to cook completely. Okay, you see? You'll know it's done when both sides are sort of a nice goldeny brown with them kind of little spots on them. Okay, I'm going to use a tea towel just to gently press my chapati. Half is on the pan and half is on the cooker. Okay, you don't have to do this. Obviously I've been used to cooking chapatis for quite some time. You can just cook it on the pan, but I like to cook on the heat like this. Cook both sides. One cooked chapati, which takes about a minute and a half.
Thanks, Kamlesh. Join us next week for more top tips. Can I stop this yet?